Welcome to the 707, a weekly half-hour program produced by KRCB, a service of NorCal Public Media. The 707 features voices and stories from your community, stories that highlight the environment, and stories that show how we are connected to each other. I'm your host, Michelle Marquis. At the beginning of June, a gathering of musicians, nonprofit organizations, and unique vendors came together for the second annual Sonoma Wild, a day-long celebration and community gathering at Somo Village in Rohnert Park. The music you're hearing now is from one of the first performers at the festival, Hot Buttered Rum.
With the song on the radio, I gotta keep rolling. Ooh, I'm driving my life away, looking for a better way for me.
My colleague Doug Jayne, who hosts Midday Music on KRCB, spoke with Tamara Klamner, director and founder of Tapestry Productions, about the event.
Tamara is with me. She's from Tapestry Productions and putting on the Sonoma Wild program on Saturday. It occurred to me when you talked about how the show starts with the drumming and the immersion, and then you got Hot Buttered Rum. You're curating.
I am.
That's part of your gig too, right?
That's the fun.
Yeah, is that something that you took to right away because you've been doing shows for years and years?
Yeah.
Something you had a knack for?
When I first started, I was working with Wavy Gravy, and so we did that together. And he'd always just call up his friends and get them all to play on the show, and then we'd put it together and curate that. But yeah, I've started doing it mostly on my own, like 15 years ago, I'd say.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I think it's really the beauty of doing this is it's like an art. I get to create a tapestry. That's where the name Tapestry Productions came from, was kind of like pulling in all these different pieces and putting it together like a tapestry.
Sweet. Now, talk a little bit about your background as a concert producer.
Well, I started out working with the Seva Foundation and with Wavy Gravy to help him put on the benefits that we would do to raise money to cure blindness around the world.
And how did you meet Wavy Gravy?
Well, I was working at Seva, actually. I went to school for international development, and I got a job working at Seva. And I always knew about Seva because they were at Grateful Dead shows. And when I was growing up, I'd see them there, and it was a cool thing, right? Mm-hmm. And then when I went back to school and I needed to work for a nonprofit, I wanted to work there, and they said, great, come help us. So I started out as a volunteer and then got hired. But when I was working there in their catalog department, Wavy was coming in and putting on a show, and he needed help, and no one in the office had time, and I did have time, and I just took to it because it was very familiar to me working in the music world because I kind of grew up in it. So, and working with Wavy and was such fun. He makes everything fun.
He does, doesn't he?
He really does.
Yeah. He visited us at our old building a few times. Yeah. And, Aaron is the guy that brought him in? Yeah. Sweet. It's so much fun. I mean, it's just, I'm thinking, I watched that Woodstock movie when it came out. When I was in, sophomore in high school, I went to the theater and saw Wavy, we must be in heaven, man.
What I have in mind is breakfast in bed for 400,000.
I know.
He's got he's been called one of the most famous sayings of the 20th century or whatever, 21st century. What century are we in? Yeah, he's definitely a hippie icon.
Oh God, he is, and he just had a big birthday, right?
He turned 90, believe it or not.
Wow.
He'll be at the show, and we're all going to be able to sing happy birthday to him.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
The lineup included Michaela Davis, who plays rock music on a harp, and a musician whose last name is familiar to those who love bluegrass and the Grateful Dead.
Well, we have Sam Grisman Project, and he is the son of David Grisman, whom we all know and love. And he is super duper talented, Sam. He plays bass, stand-up bass, sometimes electric bass, but mostly stand-up bass. And he's got an incredible band, and they do a lot of bluegrass and dog music, they call it, carrying on the tradition that his dad and Jerry Garcia started.
Yeah. When did he start performing? Did you go out as a young kid?
I think so. I mean, I feel like I saw him play when he was a teenager, but he's just taking it on now and touring like crazy all around the country, playing all kinds of festivals and doing really well.
And yes, we're begging for a change, and no, we cannot see its name. We're blinded by the constant pounding lie.
Other performers included Mamuse and headliner Elephant Revival. There are multiple nonprofit organizations at the Sonoma Wild Festival.
One of the goals of this event is to connect the community to these organizations and get people involved and support these wonderful groups. And the other thing that came out of last year that was really cool is that the organizations themselves got to connect with each other, and they don't usually get the opportunity to do that. So it was a cool place to make connections.
Now, one of the people, Tamara, that you have on the list of speakers is Julia Butterfly Hill.
Yeah, I'm so excited Julia's coming to support this event. She's been a friend of mine for 30 years, ever since.
Tell the folks how she got famous.
Well, she got famous by sitting in a tree for 2 years to protect old-growth redwoods, and she is an amazing person. She's dedicated to helping make the world a better place and helping environmental causes and helping kids and helping in every way she can by speaking out her truth. And she's very articulate and charismatic for her talk, which is also going to include a couple other local activists. Trayton Heckman from Daily Axe will be on that, and so is Katherina Audley from the Noyo Center for Marine Sciences. They're based in Mendocino County, and they do a lot of work, educational and environmental protection of the oceans.
2 years in a tree.
2 years in a tree. She's amazing. I mean, what dedication.
That was Doug Jayne speaking with Tamara Klamner, director and founder of Tapestry Productions. I attended Sonoma Wild and had a chance to speak with some of the nonprofits there, including Katherina Audley from the Noyo Center for Marine Sciences.
The Noyo Center is a place located in Mendocino County in Fort Bragg, so just north of Sonoma, and we are dedicated to marine education, science and exploration and experience. Today we're here talking to people about the work that we're doing at the Noyo Center, and so we're sharing the work that we do in marine mammal rescue and with kelp restoration and with our educational programs to get people to know what we're doing up in Fort Bragg and inviting people to come up and visit us.
How is kelp restoration going? I know it's so important.
Well, I can't say that we're single-handedly doing anything. It's taking a lot of people, but we're doing some pretty neat work to eradicate the purple urchins and find a way to motivate people to get the purple urchins out of the ocean that are overpopulating to give the kelp a chance to grow back. We've just broken ground on something called the Whale House Laboratory, and it's the first building that's been built since the old mill site was closed in 2002. So this building will be big enough to actually articulate the skeleton of a 73-foot blue whale that washed up on the coast in 2009. So we needed a very, very big building, and we got permission to break ground out on the headlands. And so before very much longer, probably by this fall, there's going to be a building ready to bring home the bones of a blue whale and begin a community effort to put it back together and to assemble the skeleton of the largest animal that's ever lived.
That's insane. So where are the bones right now?
The bones are in the home of a 94-year-old woman's garage named Donna, and she's been taking care of these bones as their steward for the past few years while patiently waiting for us to get through the permitting and the fundraising that we've needed in order to be able to build this thing.
So is it going to be like a museum that people can come by and see, or how does that work?
It is. The first thing we need to do is to finish making the building closed and safe. Then we need to go through another permit process to make it a fully public visitable thing. But this is going to be something that's going to be an opportunity for tourists, visitors to the area to come, and for volunteers and educational groups and schools to come and visit and be a part of. So we'll have a scrub club where the kids can come and scrub the bones, and I imagine that thousands of different different hands are going to get their chance to touch those bones and be a part of it. And so we're going to be having an open house on June 17th in the field station in Noyo Harbor to invite people to come down and see where we are, how far. We're fundraising at this point to finish it. So it really is a community-led barn raising type approach that we need to do to get ourselves to the point where the building will be ready to bring the bones in.
How can people find more about your organization?
The best way they can do it is to get onto our website, noyocenter.org, so NOYOCENTER.org, and sign up for our newsletter. We send out a newsletter every week letting people know what we're doing. We have a lot of very cool science programs like Science Talks that are online, and so people can attend them on Zoom if they don't want to make it all the way down, or they can come and scrub the bones or come for different kinds of gatherings and events. We've got a lot of really neat programs going on at Noyo Center, and it's all there on our website.
That was Katherina Audley from the Noyo Center for Marine Sciences. In the next segment of the 707, we'll hear from other nonprofit organizations at Sonoma Wild, including Sonoma Mountain Preservation, Weaving Earth, and the CoPilot Project. This is KRCB.
But Cinderella seems to have the blues. She runs off into the moonlight, wearing one glass shoe.
KRCB is Sonoma County's NPR station, featuring the voices, sounds, and culture that make our home unique. From the heartwarming tales of postcards,
our grandmother was the founder of Juneteenth in Sonoma County,
to the Arts Briefs series shining a spotlight on the incredible youth in the arts scene,
where actually you can express everything that you feel,
and farm tales.
We live in this beautiful area that allows all forms of success in agriculture.
Your stories, your station. KRCB 104.9, Sonoma County's NPR station.
Welcome back to the 707 on KRCB. I'm your host, Michelle Marquis. Today we're revisiting Sonoma Wild, the music festival and community gathering held at Somo Village in Rohnert Park in June. One of the nonprofit organizations there was Sonoma Mountain Preservation, and I spoke with David Hansen, emeritus board member, and Soneile Him, who does communications work for the group.
Advocates for Sonoma Mountain, keeping it nice and green and generally the way it is, promoting trails and additional open space, but also protecting the farmland and trying to increase public access and education of the mountain.
How have things been going since you started the group?
We've produced a book, which is very popular. Yeah, it's been quite popular. The hikes especially, now that we've got a number of hikes, which you see on the map there.
We put out an annual journal. We take people for hikes. So basically, I think he said we promote conserving the mountain, but also really getting people on the mountain and getting people to connect with the mountain and really get a sense of place. The mountain has 4 different watersheds that come off of it. How are we connected every day to the mountain, even if we're not on it? Right. But we're definitely trying to also develop trails, more trails and more access, especially on Petaluma side of the mountain. There's really not a lot of access to the mountain.
Just the Lafferty Ranch itself. We lead hikes there with land paths, the group. But Bill Cordham, who's no longer with us, of course, was a big advocate for the mountain. And especially when you come up 101 and you come out of Marin County and the first thing you see coming up over the hill is the mountain stretched all the way out there. It's such a beautiful. We'd like to keep it that way, keep the white buildings off the mountain so it visually stays the way it is, but also to work with preserving a few more lands on the mountain with the Open Space District and the Land Trust and the state and regional parks and others. The Ridge Trail, we're trying to get the Ridge Trail over the mountain at some point.
What about building relationships with property owners there?
Well, I think it's pretty good. There's a lot of owners who were not interested in getting the public out on the land, so a lot of them, not a lot of them, but several of them have put covenants on their deeds to restrict what I call the great unwashed off the mountain. But, we're not pushing people into places where they're trespassing at all. we're looking at legitimate acquisition and legitimate trails, and wanting to work with the farmers and the agricultural owners as well. So there's mountains should belong to everybody, as it has back in prehistoric times when the Miwok and the Pomo are up here. It's a sacred mountain to them. So we're hoping to work a little bit more with the first Californians, so to speak, on the mountain.
How can people find out more about what you do?
SonomaMountain.org is our website, and you can connect with, sign up for the newsletter, read the blog, our journal. We usually have hikes. We kind of have them in clumps, so we're taking a little break from hikes, but we lead hikes, and some of the hikes are to places that are not normally accessible. Some of them are like land trust properties.
In a booth right next to Sonoma Mountain Preservation was a new organization called the CoPilot Project. I chatted with founder Mollie Knopf about the services they provide.
CoPilot was started in the aftermath of the LA wildfires in January 2025. There was a need that we were seeing not being filled. There were a lot of people that were receiving information from, various avenues, and it was really debilitating to have to digest and distill all of that information while also having to manage the trauma of losing everything and life as they knew it. I started making templates and trying to help any way I could, and then we realized that the biggest help was really being the helping hand, the extra eyes, hands, ears to help process the information and distill it down to what's really relevant to each individual person. So matching them with a personal recovery assistant that can be one-on-one with them, offer an hour of their time each week, and a few hours outside of those sessions as well to actually do the work. Not just say, this is what you need to do, but, you need help itemizing your home and the contents in it. You need help remembering what that even was, or you just need help organizing receipts. We can help you do that. And we'll sit down with you and we'll do that nitty-gritty paper pushing. And that's why our logo is a paper airplane, because we are the co-pilots trying to help these people become the pilot of their own destination and really get back on their feet and see a light at the end of the tunnel and navigate recovery with confidence and access and clarity.
So, of course, we here in Sonoma County know exactly what you went through because we went through it as well with our Tubbs fires. Have you reached out to any resources here to help you figure out how you want to build your own program?
Yeah, that's a great question. I just moved up to Northern California within this past year, so it's been a really exciting opportunity. I've been working on this. It's a grassroots organization. We're self-funded at the moment. We're looking for grant opportunities. We're looking for funding anywhere we can, any kind of exposure. That's why we're at this event. And so this is sort of the first avenue that we've explored. I've just tried to talk to people on a very personal level and word of mouth. And that's what brought us here. Someone was like, this is a great opportunity for you. You should check it out. And there's going to be like-minded individuals, and there might be some space for you in this community. So, like you said, Sonoma knows this kind of trauma. Most of California can say they know some level of this trauma, whether it's fire-related, flood-related, earthquake-related. There's a lot that goes down in California. While there are long-term recovery programs starting in LA, we are starting to explore how can we assist across the state, as well as hopefully across the country in time, because someone is always going to need our help, and it takes a village.
You can learn more at copilotproject.org. Another organization with far-reaching impact is Weaving Earth, Center for Relational Education, and I spoke with board member Holly Scaglione.
And we do nature-based education for action at the confluence of social and ecological and personal systems change. So we do a lot of work in schools with kids, nature-based education with schools countywide, and also we have programs that we run with adults as well for nature-based education and the confluence, like I said, of social change and social justice and personal evolution, really. We have a program called Attune, which is a 12-month-long program, and it's for adults, and it's all about similar work around nature-based education and kind of steeped in the poly crisis and how do we come to terms with that and be able to figure out how to rise above some of that and work with nature and in collaboration with other people and other communities and be able to, work through some of these big challenges that we have in our world today.
And when you say nature-based education, does that mean going out into nature and like doing hikes, or what are you talking about?
Yeah, so a lot of it is all different kinds of things. It's nature-based hikes, it's learning about plants and animals, it's learning about ecological systems, it's learning about the harm and destructive systems and extractive systems that we've been living with for so long, and learning about how to create sustainable systems, permaculture, even fun things like bird language, like how do the birds migrate, what do they sound like, what do they look like, and kind of getting really familiar and making it fun, making it accessible for people so that we can have value in this natural world and see ourselves as part of that web, and that we are all, our kind of liberation is tied up with all of that, right?
Links to all guests in today's show are online at krcb.org/the707. I'm your host and producer of this program, Michelle Marquis. Additional interviews by Doug Jayne and music recordings by Max Allen. This show is a service of NorCal Public Media. Our president and CEO is Darren Lachelle.